Today, I plan to cover this basic concept uh, that is spontaneous process, non-spontaneous process, enthalpy, internal energy, endothermic reaction, exothermic reaction, entropy, free energy, and law of thermodynamics. In our syllabus, for a few concepts are included, and among this, that is internal energy, entropy, free energy, and law of thermodynamics. These things you have to study. Okay. The first concept, the spontaneous process. Like if you want to burn something, okay, a burning substance that produces heat and energy. It's a good example for a spontaneous process. That is, you may have a light the substance first. That means you have to introduce just an activation energy. Once you supply the activation energy, it burning itself. The substance is burning and it continues by itself. It's a good example for a spontaneous process. That means a spontaneous process will proceed automatically. That means there is no external aid. While you may have to provide some activation energy. It's not all in all cases. In some cases, it may take place by itself. The rest will proceed without the need of any external energy source. So we can define a spontaneous process, a process which occurs on its own without any external aid under certain condition is called spontaneous process. Okay. There is nothing or we are not introduce any external aid which occurs on its own without any external. That is what we call it as a spontaneous process. The good example is this one, burning. And even the other example like evaporation of water, okay, by sunlight. So it's continuous process that takes place. And even neutralization of an acid by a base. If you just mix, that is activation, you just mix the acid with a base, the neutralization reaction take place. Then even the reaction between the acid with some metal, that is a spontaneous process. Then rock rolling down a hill. These are the considered, this all comes under a spontaneous process. Then what is non-spontaneous? It's just reverse. So photosynthesis, a process in which a plant used to make a glucose. So plants requires energy and that energy comes from the sunlight to drive chemical reaction. That means this reaction take place only in the daytime, not in the night time. That means it requires some energy continuously. And that process what we considered as a non-spontaneous process. A process which makes, so a process or which takes place only under the influence of an external agency called non-spontaneous process. In the absence of external influence, okay, or external energy, the process come to an end. The reverse of any spontaneous process is a non-spontaneous process. That is the good example like rocking, rolling down in a hill. That is a spontaneous process. But moving up to the hill or move to the top of the hill, that is a non-spontaneous process. Yeah. And this about our even drawing of water from well using a pump. That is a non-spontaneous So pushing a rock uphill, that is a non-spontaneous process. Okay, this is about the spontaneous and non-spontaneous process. Okay, a spontaneous process, a process that takes place or that occurs on its own without any external aid, whereas non-spontaneous process, a process which takes place only under the influence of an external agency. Okay, then here is one example. Just see. So it happens now. Is it a spontaneous process? Yeah, a spontaneous process. One, that is a monkey. Just by seeing the banana, that monkey wants to take that one. A spontaneous. So that's the intuition. No continuous energy input from an external source is necessary to run that. But if any homework is not complete, for the completion of homework, a non-spontaneous process, a continuous energy, you do it, you read, you study, like that is a non-spontaneous. We may consider like, okay. Okay. The next concept I'll take an endothermic reaction that is related to this one enthalpy. That is an endothermic reaction and an exothermic reaction. Reversible reaction means a process can be reversed, okay, at an instant of time. It's not a continuous, but we can reverse the reaction. See, I'll take one reactant, X, and that X reacts with Y, giving rise to the product Z, okay. So, the Z dissociates. See, I'll take this one like X plus Y, giving rise to Z. In that, the Z dissociate, okay, to forming, if it is form X and Y individual, okay, for an instant or by that particular time, or by increasing some force by an external influence, if it is possible to change, then that reaction, what we called it as reversible reaction. Clear? A process which can be reversed. A process which can be reversed at an instant of time by increasing the opposing force. Like if you consider the corrosion of metal, corrosion of metal is a spontaneous process, okay? It is a non-reversible, but by applying a higher current, the reaction can be reversed. That is, we introduce some opposing forces. So as a result, we can reverse that reaction if it is possible, and then that reaction is considered as a reversible reaction. In some reaction, a process which is carried out rapidly so that the system does not get changed to attain a equilibrium. It will not change. So only the forward reaction is observed. No backward reaction. Only forward reaction is observed. Then that reaction are considered as a irreversible. It's not possible to get back the reactant. Okay. See, all spontaneous process, why I take this reversible and irreversible? All spontaneous process are irreversible. Okay? An irreversible process cannot be reversed. Clear? Reversible and irreversible process. The reversible process is a process that can be reversed, whereas irreversible process that takes place rapidly, and so that the system does not get a chance to attain a equilibrium. Suddenly it comes to, or the complete product is formed. And all spontaneous process are a irreversible process. And then again I mentioned one more term, that is exothermic reaction and an endothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction. Here, you can observe two pictures, that endothermic and the exothermic. So, what do you mean by this exothermic reaction? Okay. So, when you supply a heat that is usually expressed in terms of H. Okay. That is what we called it as enthalpy. Okay. Enthalpy. We mentioned it as a enthalpy. or in other words heat. Okay, that is a total heat content of the system. Okay, it is the thermodynamic property and defined as the sum of the internal energy and the product of its pressure and volume, or it is the total heat content of a system and is measured as the sum of the internal energy and the product of pressure and volume. Okay, in this, during this mentioning the endothermic or exothermic reaction, enthalpy plays an important role. What do you mean by an exothermic reaction? A reaction which takes place with the evolution of heat is known as exothermic reaction. That is, here heat exists and this heat is entering to the atmosphere, and that is what we called it as an exothermic reaction. Okay, and the heat which enter into the atmosphere, when the two component, if you mixed, that time heat enter into the system, that is what we called it as a endothermic reaction. Okay, exothermic reaction is a reaction which takes place with the evolution of heat. Okay, with the evolution of heat, whereas endothermic reaction, it is the reaction that takes place with the absorption of heat. Okay, called endothermic reaction. These two things are very important while explaining enthalpy of a reaction. Okay, endothermic reactions are the reactions in which they take place with the absorption of heat. Okay, that is absorption of heat from the surrounding to the system. It takes heat. As a result, the system becomes cool. Okay, when you interact the two components, that time delta H or the heat in the system decreases. As a result, to make an equilibrium, it takes. Whereas here the heat gives out. Here heat energy, if it is into the system, this is nothing but a system, we'll consider. So if the reaction, that is heat energy, move into the system, so enthalpy of the system slowly increases. Okay, here if heat energy is given out to the system, enthalpy of the system decreases. So what is enthalpy? Enthalpy is defined as the total heat content of the system. It is the total heat content of the system. It is the total heat content of the system and is measured. How it is measured? It is measured as the sum of the system's internal energy and the product of its pressure and volume. Okay, so product of its pressure and volume. It is the total heat content of a system and measured as the sum of its internal energy and product of its pressure and volume. Usually we'll express this way. Enthalpy, it is H, total heat content of the system, is equal to U, it is the internal energy of the system, P is the pressure and V is the volume, where U is the internal energy, P is the pressure, and V is the volume of the system. So, and again, the enthalpy of the system depends upon the quantity of substance and also the state of the substance. Okay, it's what we considered as a state function. Instead of writing this del H, we usually take a small change in the enthalpy. That is what we call it as change in enthalpy equal to the change in internal energy plus pressure into change in the volume. Okay, that is a enthalpy of a change in enthalpy is usually expressed like delta H equal to delta U plus P delta V. So here the delta H that decides, or the reaction that decides whether the delta H is positive or the negative. If delta H is positive, then the reaction is endothermic. Okay. If the heat is taken from the system, then the delta H increases. Okay. This is an endothermic reaction. In all endothermic reaction, the heat from the surrounding, it moves to the system and enthalpy increases. Enthalpy increases means delta H is positive. Delta H is positive is observed in endothermic reaction. If the reaction is exothermic, the heat energy is gives to the system, surrounding, and the delta H is negative. The delta H is negative, then the reaction is considered as exothermic reaction. In general, the endothermic reaction, delta H is positive, and exothermic reaction, delta H is negative. Okay, it is negative. So, yeah. So this is about a little thing about the enthalpy of a reaction or a heat content which present in the system. Okay. Now I shall take one more concept. What we call it as a internal energy. Okay. That is the energy which observed in the system. That is internal energy of the system. In all the system or a molecule, it contains some energy, and that energy, what we called it as, what we considered as the internal energy. Okay, that is internal energy is the sum of the kinetic energy and the potential energies of the substance. Okay, it is the sum of the kinetic energy and the potential energy of the system. Okay, any doubt up to this? Any doubt? Is it clear? Okay. These all things are basic. Okay. Now, what do you mean by an internal energy? It is like each, even we also possess some internal energy. Yeah. That is energy which is possessed or a possessed energy. It may be gained or it may be a self. Like kinetic energy is a gained energy, and the potential energy, it's an energy which is present in ourselves. So the total we considered as the internal energy. Okay, the internal energy is the energy possessed by the substance due to its nature, chemical composition, and thermodynamic states. Okay, the basic factor that decides the internal energy is the, it depends on what factor it usually possessed by the substance due to its nature. Yeah, it is due to its nature. Yeah, so each substance possesses a different kinds of internal energy, chemical composition, and also it depends upon the state function, that is thermodynamic state. The total energy, what we considered as a internal energy. Internal energy is made up of number of components such as transitional energy, rotational energy, vibrational energy, like electronic energy, that are possessed by the substance, and it is an extensive properties as a state function. Okay, so internal energy, and it is indicated by letter or denoted in terms of U. Okay, it is considered as an internal energy indicated by U. Okay, the absolute value of internal energy of the system can be determined. Exact value can be determined if you know the internally energy of the system before and after the reaction, or after the reactions. Clear? The internal energy, say here I'll take a one this one atom, sorry, molecule. So they structurally or arranged. There is a bond they hold with each other. The internal energy is an object or a substance due to kinetic and the potential energy. Okay. So here they restrict the motion of the molecule, or there may be a random motion. Depending upon that, we can observe a difference in the internal energy, which is associated with the random or a disorder motion of the molecule. It may be a random motion, or random means it generally will take that way. So there is a bond between the molecules. Again, there may be some distortion. So as a result, the motion you may be observed, and entire thing what we considered as a internal energy. That is the sum of kinetic energy and the potential energies in a substance, and it is expressed in terms of kilojoule. And here, so this is about a little thing about the internal energy. And this internal energy again explain the law of thermodynamics. While explaining the first law of thermodynamics, we need an internal energy. So that is the first law of thermodynamics. How we express? You already studied thing. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be transferred from one form into another form. So that is what we called it as a first law of thermodynamics, or what we called it as law of conservation of energy. During that time, we need this internal energy. So based on this internal energy that is possessed by the substance, we express the first law of thermodynamics. Okay. Now, I consider one more term, called it as entropy. Okay, the term what we called it as a entropy. So, entropy is nothing but a randomness, a measurement of here degree of randomness of energy in a system. So, it is an again extensive property that is nothing but the quantity of disorder or randomness in a system is expressed in terms of entropy. Okay, it is associated with a certain amount of disorder or randomness. In all system, it appears like the orderly arrangement, but there may exist some randomness, or during the reaction, or during the process, the randomness increases. Like just you can take the ice. If you observe the ice, a ordered arrangement of ice. This is a pictorial representation of ice. So it is an ordered arrangement of ice is observed. But so when it interacts with the surrounding, okay, it is a spontaneous process. Okay, it is if you just keep it outside, or it interact with the atmospheric temperature, slowly it melts. Yeah, that is nothing but a randomness from order state. Like if it melts, it becomes a water, a randomness increases. Okay, so from order state to disorder, usually a spontaneous process, this one. Okay, a spontaneous process, so delta or the entropy increases. Okay, it depends upon, that means this entropy that depends upon physical state. Yeah, whether it is liquid or the solid gases, it depends. Entropy depends on physical state, and also it depends on temperature. Yeah, it depends on temperature. The randomness depends upon the arrangement and the mobility of the constituent particles. Okay, it is the mobility of the constituent particle, how it mobile or it migrate or dissolve. It tells about the entropy. Okay, the lower the entropy, it's a common thing. Lower the entropy, the more order is observed. Yeah, if the entropy of the system is very less, means the orderly arrangement is observed. So the entropy we express in terms of S. Okay, the entropy is expressed in terms of S. If you take the entropy in the beginning like S1 and the end S2, and that difference what we got, take it as delta S. That is a changing entropy. That is or you can take it as this one is a product and this one is a in any reaction, the beginning the entropy is considered as R, and later will considered as a SP, or sorry, the difference SP minus SR, gives the delta S, the change in entropy. It is a degree of disorder in the system. The absolute value of entropy of a substance cannot be measured. Absolute value is not possible, but we can take a relative value. So we usually take entropy change of the process by using a thermodynamic data. Okay. So this entropy is mainly deals or tells about the second law of thermodynamics. It explains something related to the second law of thermodynamics. Okay. So here all the entropy in all spontaneous process, usually the entropy increases, or all spontaneous process is irreversible. That is again the second law of thermodynamics, entropy increases. So change in entropy we usually express in terms of delta S. Okay, change in entropy we express in terms of delta S. It is for a reversible reaction. Quantity of heat absorbed delta Q for reversible process by T. Okay, this is also a mathematical expression for a second law of thermodynamics. Entropy also expresses the same thing. Change in entropy delta S is equal to Q by T for a reversible process. That is, entropy change of a process is the ratio of heat absorbed to the absolute temperature. Okay, heat absorbed to the absolute. This is a heat absorbed to the absolute temperature. Absolute temperature. Okay, when the process is carried out reversibly and isothermally. That is also important. Okay, this is about the entropy. It is just a measure of randomness. In all spontaneous process, randomness increases. Then one more term comes in the picture, that is a free energy change or free energy, or simply we called it even the free energy also called it as what Gibbs. You may be heard this one, yeah, Gibbs free energy change or Gibbs free energy. Gibbs free energy. Yeah, what do you mean by this free energy? What do you mean by a free energy? What do you mean by a free energy? It's already expressed. It is defined as the maximum amount of energy available to a system to perform useful work. Okay. It is a conversion of energy into work. Okay. See, X amount of energy, if it is present, is it completely utilized for the work? Okay, that is what we call it as a free energy. Is defined as the maximum available energy, maximum amount of available energy, or maximum work attainable in the system. It is usually expressed in terms of G. G is free energy, S is entropy, U is internal energy. Okay. It is defined as the maximum amount of available energy, called it as a free energy, or simply it may considered as a energy or gives free energy to a system to perform useful work. Okay. Here, the mathematically we can express the absolute energy. It is the free energy, that is delta H is G is equal to H minus Ts. Okay, that means the free energy that relates with the enthalpy as well as it depends on entropy. Okay, the free energy is defined as the difference between the enthalpy of a substance and the products of absolute temperature and the products of absolute temperature and entropy. Clear? This is the equation used to predict the free energy. That is, free energy is defined as the difference between enthalpy and enthalpy of a substance and the product of absolute temperature and entropy. That means free energy that depends on entropy. Okay, where H is, enthalpy, S is entropy. The product of absolute temperature and entropy represents unavailable energy in the system. It is used by the system to alter its temperature and entropy. So if G is equal to H, that is the free energy, if it is exactly equal to, that means the energy, if it is completely like energy, if it is completely converted into heat, then the net volume we can get. That is the maximum amount of energy we can get it from the system. But in all system, it is not possible to get a maximum energy. There is a decrease in energy by an amount of entropy. Yeah, that is what we called it as unavailable energy in the system. Okay, so and again we may express one more term, that is like delta G naught. I think this one you already studied. That is delta G naught, or sorry, G naught. G naught is the standard free energy. G is a free energy. This is a standard free energy of the system. That is the free energy when it is measured when 1 mole of a substance in its most stable form at 298 Kelvin or 1 atmosphere pressure. That is what we called it as a standard free energy. Okay. So then we can come across one equation, that is delta G. This one same, the change in free energy equal to the change in enthalpy minus temperature into change in entropy. And this equation, what we called it as Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. The free energy, it tells about the free energy change and its significance. Okay. So it is delta Hg is equal to delta H minus T delta S. Delta G is a delta product. It indicates, G product minus free energy during product minus reactant. And this also the same, product minus reactant, and this is a delta S, also the same thing, S product minus S reactant. Okay, the free energy of the product and the free energy of the reactant is considered. Okay, see this delta G gives a free energy change is equal to total energy change of the system minus energy lost in disordering of the system. That is what we call it as Gibbs free energy change. Okay, so here if we can observe a change in delta G value depending upon the spontaneity of the reaction. Okay, so the delta G is used to predict the spontaneity of a process. Tendency to attain a minimum amount of energy, delta G is negative, is the true driving process for spontaneous. That means as the delta G is negative, the reaction is spontaneous. The reaction is spontaneous. If the reaction is spontaneous means the free energy change of the system should be negative. In another word, the process, if it is not a spontaneous process, then delta G equal to positive value. What we get becomes positive, taken as non-spontaneous process. If delta G is positive, the free energy change is positive, the process is non-spontaneous. The delta G is negative, the free energy change is negative in a process, then it is a spontaneous. That means the delta G value predict the spontaneity of the reaction. Sometimes we may get delta G equal to 0. That indicates the reaction is at equilibrium. Okay. Delta G is negative, then delta H is negative, and delta S is positive at all temperature. This is negative means delta H becomes positive. Delta H should be negative and delta S positive. If delta S positive, this terms becomes positive and delta H becomes negative. The net value delta G also become negative. That means As the temperature increases, delta G becomes more and more negative, and thereby the process becomes more and more spontaneous, like a burning of fuel. As the process that enthalpy of the reaction increases, that is delta H increases, then the reaction delta H increases means a more negative spontaneous reaction. Delta H is negative, so delta G also become negative. Okay, so if delta H and delta S both negative, then delta H becomes positive, and if delta H is positive, delta S is positive, then T delta S is greater than delta H. Okay, like delta G may become a positive, like in the case of non-spontaneous process. There are few non-spontaneous process. They shows delta H positive. That may be a delta H may be at equilibrium. Like these are the three cases we observed under free energy change. That is the work that taking place in the system that deals with the delta G, the free energy of the system. Or we may arrive a relationship between the change in free energy of the system with the maximum useful work that taking place in the system. Okay, so that you already know, that is maximum amount of energy available to a system to perform a useful work, that is nothing but the that is nothing but delta G. The delta G uh, is negative when the reaction is spontaneous. Delta G is positive. It is non-spontaneous. Delta G is equal to 0. It indicates it is at equilibrium. Okay. So here, this delta G value plays very important role in electrochemical reaction or in the electrochemical cell. When the delta G becomes negative, then only you can get a output. Okay. Clear? So that is we can arrive a relationship between the free energy change with the equilibrium with the cell potential or electrode potential. Okay, we may arrive. It's possible to arrive the relation between them two. So how we can arrive? I'll show you. That is the relationship between free energy change and the electrode potential. Okay, say here all reaction that taking place in an electrochemical cell is a spontaneous process. Yeah, it is a spontaneous process. So in spontaneous process, delta G is equal to negative. Okay, the change in free energy of the system is equal to negative. What is the change you observed in the electrode? The decrease in the free energy is equal to, in the electrode means it is a transfer of electron. Yeah. So we can take decrease in free energy is equal to maximum. Yeah. It is equal to maximum useful work that takes place in the system. Yeah. In the system. It takes place in the system. Clear? So how we write? Minus delta G, that is decrease in the free energy, equal to W, that work that is taking place in the system. System here what we considered is a electrode. What is the reaction that taking place in electrode? The electrode is a transferring of electron. Okay. So the electrode possesses a E volt of potential. Electrode possesses E volt potential. Okay, it possesses E volt potential. What is the work that taking place in the system? That is work that taking place. The work done by the system. Work done by the system is for transfer of transfer of how many electron? N number of electron, and each electron possesses F electron with F Faraday of current, okay, that migrates with the potential. F Faradays of current passing, okay, passing in or passing with E volt of potential. Yeah, E volt of potential. So we know that W is nothing but NFE. This is observed in the cell or in the electrode. I'll take it as in the electrode. So we know that minus delta G is equal to W. Minus delta G is equal to W, and W minus delta G equal to NFE, and delta G, that is decrease in the free energy change, is equal to NFE, or delta G is equal to the change here. It relates with the electrode, single electrode potential, or you may take, instead of taking the electrode potential, you may take the cell potential, NFE cell. Okay, this relation, this gives the relationship between the free energy change with the cell potential. Okay, free energy change with cell potential, and the cell potential again relates to the electrode potential. Here I just mentioned electrode potential, whereas here I mentioned cell potential. This is the actual relation between the electrode potential or the cell potential with the free energy.